You need to know this before you start your Pilates journey or to elevate any sculpt program. Hello and mabuhay, my name is Allegra. I'm a licensed physical therapist and a STOTT trained Pilates instructor. And today we're going to talk about the most important part of your Pilates practice. And it is the very first thing you need to know before you start your Pilates journey. We are going to talk about your breathing technique. And by the end of this video, you're going to have knowledge on the Pilates breathing principle and how to properly apply this in your practice. So first things first, what is breathing? Breathing is essentially the practice of inhaling and exhaling air in and out of your lungs. Why is this important? Not only does it keep you alive, but it also increases your concentration and focus on every articulation that you do. If you notice in Pilates, every movement has an inhale and an exhale. So not only does it improve your focus, but good breathing technique properly oxygenates your blood. Properly oxygenated blood then results in properly oxygenated muscles. Good oxygenated muscles then in turn result in more efficient, more optimized, more effective muscle use. Less stress, less tears, less tension for your muscles. So let's begin. The three components that I want to talk about in your technique is your inhale, your transverse abdominis, and your pelvic floor. Let's begin by diving into your inhale. Think about your inhale as a three-dimensional breath. What is meant by this? So the first thing you need to note is your diaphragm going down. The second is your rib cage going out to the sides and out to the back. So from here, come and follow along, sit in a nice comfortable position, taking your index finger, placing it on your lowermost rib cage here. Rest your palm on your belly. Let's take an inhale, expanding into the belly, into your lower abs, exhaling through the mouth. Continue here. As you're inhaling, can you really focus on sending that breath, lowering the diaphragm, pressing the rib cage to the sides and to the back? Exhale through pursed lips. Let's do two more here. Inhale, pressing that hand out. Exhaling through pursed lips. You have one last one here. Inhale, pressing that index finger away. Exhaling through pursed lips here. Nice. So a good thing to note here is that you're inhaling in through your nostrils, you're exhaling through pursed lips. The most optimal Pilates breath is 25% effort only. So don't try so hard to breathe in too much air that your traps are rising and your chest is pulling out. Try to keep it in, relaxed. Keep that noted. So the next thing that we have here is your transverse abdominis. What is the transverse abdominis? This is your deepest core muscle. If you do most of your activities with your transverse abdominis intact and engaged, you're essentially going to optimize the strength of your entire body. Think of your body like a balloon. If you squeeze from the sides and you try to press up the top and the bottom, you're going to notice that the balloon is a lot more harder to press down or press up. And that's because the sides are engaged. And essentially, it's the same with the human body. If you squeeze from the sides of your eggshell body, your appendages are essentially going to be stronger. It just works that way. So to go deeper in this, your transverse abdominis originates from your thoracolumbar fascia all the way down your undermost ribs and attaches into your abdominal aponeurosis. So it is essentially what we call your corset muscle as it wraps around your waist like a corset. So how do we go about feeling this muscle? You're going to take your peace fingers here, placing them right onto your hip bones. You go 1 inch inward, you'll feel it here. So going back into your three-dimensional inhale into the nose. As you exhale through your mouth, you're going to squeeze your core, feel it harden under your 2 fingers. Let's do 2 more here. Inhaling to expand. Exhaling, you squeeze the core, feel it harden here. One last one. Inhaling into the belly. Exhaling through pursed lips, hardening under the 2 fingers. Beautiful. So, moving on to the third thing that we have to talk about today, which is your pelvic floor. So right here are your pelvic bones. It is a ring-shaped structure. By that I mean it has walls around the sides, but at the top and at the bottom are hollowed out holes. So this bottom hole here is supported by a group of 4 muscles called your pelvic floor. So think about this pelvic floor like a hammock. It hangs when it's relaxed. When you contract, it lifts up. The sensation that I like to compare it with is that when it is contracted, it feels like there's an elevator coming up your pubic area here. Feels kind of weird, but it's that same feeling when you have to pee, but you have to stop yourself from peeing. So let's practice that sensation together. Another thing that I like to note is that when you're seated comfortably, try to feel your sit bones, these 2 bones here. When you engage your pelvic floor, the 2 seat bones are going to approximate each other. They're going to come closer is what it's going to feel like. So from here, let's all sit in our comfortable position, hands on your knees. Take an inhale, 3-dimensional breath. Exhale, you squeeze the transverse abdominis. You lift the pelvic floor at the same time. Let's try that a few more times, inhaling into the belly. Exhale, you squeeze the core. You feel that elevator rising up. One more time here. You're going to inhale, 3-dimensional breath. Exhale, squeeze the transverse abdominis. Bring the sit bones together. That's essentially all you have to know. So from here, let's try it out with movement, as Pilates is a movement-based practice. Coming into a seated position here, go ahead and bend your knees. Place your feet flat on the ground here. Hands are on your hamstrings. Roll the shoulders back, seated tall here. Take an inhale. As you exhale, you squeeze the core, lift the pelvic floor, articulate the spine backwards, big C-shape, gaze at the navel. Inhale, you lift yourself back up to seated. Exhale, squeeze the core, lift the pelvic floor, roll yourself halfway down, gazing at the navel. You have one last one here. Exhale, squeeze the core, lift the pelvic floor, lower yourself down, hold squeezed for 5, keep breathing, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lift yourself all the way up. And that is your Pilates breathing principle. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if this was informational for you, I have a lot more videos to come. Go ahead and like this video and subscribe. You can find me on Instagram at _she's feral. See you later.